Hello and welcome everyone to another StarCraft 2 England cast. Today I have got game 1 of a best of 3 from Antec attack number 18. This is in a playlist with all the other Antec attack 18 games, and on all of the other ones, or at least quite a few of the other ones, I have a co-caster, Puri. This is actually cast from a replay because we weren't able to catch this game live. Game 2 is cast by both of us though, which should hopefully follow on from this one in the playlist, or you can find it really easily on my channel. So, down in the bottom right, we do have Excuse Me, which is a Smurf account for TSLRevival. Revival is, well, the teal Zerg, and up in the top left we have AcerBly, who is the orange Zerg as well. So it's a ZvZ, the map's a Teldrim Altar, and they're in cross-spawn position, so it's a huge map. Just to take this time quickly, just to mention things that aren't up on screen, as I said, this is the Antec Attack Tournament, which I cast live on the DE Sports stream every single Wednesday at 6:30 English time, UK time, so convert that for wherever you are. And I cast that with someone called Puri, who's from DE Sports, and it's awesome, so check us out. If you want to follow us on Twitter, I'm at SC2England, at SC2_England rather, which is down here, and Puri is at PuriDude, which is PUGHYDUDE, so you should definitely check that out. Also check out DE Sports because they're awesome, and obviously also Antec, because Antec are awesome. So we will see Bly going for this gas then pool. Meanwhile we will see Revival going for the hatch first build. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Obviously Bly, by getting the gas first, is able to get speed out very quickly and deal a lot of pressure. He can also get out Baneling sooner if he does keep drones in the extractor. Neither player is actually going to go the right way with the overlords, so they can assume from that that they're in cross-spawn positions, or at least narrow it down. There goes the gas before pool as well for Revival, so that is a very, very bold move there, like crazy bold. Because he went for hatch first and he's going an even later pool, but it will mean he can get speed out quicker, which will be interesting to see how that plays out. Meanwhile, for Bly, well, he's just waiting for that pool to finish up. He does only have 2 lava remaining, so he is going for just 2 Zerglings, not getting the 4, and he's getting that queen out as well. So that earlier queen makes up for the fact that he doesn't have as early hatch as Revival, but I'd like to see Bly get his own hatch relatively quickly, just to keep up economically and also in production. So really this is now getting into the point where we've not got any massing of lings, so we're probably not going to see a heavy ling play out of either player. We could see some ling blings still. The Baneling nest is coming out for Bly, so it'd be interesting to see if he uses that defensively or offensively, but currently, judging by the fact that he's only got these 2 Zerglings on the field, I'd imagine that it's going to be defensive Banelings, but we will wait and see what he does. Meanwhile, speed on the way for Bly. Speed only just started now for Revival, so it's a good about 60 seconds behind, which is a whole minute for those of you who don't know how to tell the time. Meanwhile, we have got the expansion started here for Bly as well. He's not getting out any more Zerglings. The 2 Zerglings he does have are just running around in Revival's base, just getting a good scout of what's going on. Most importantly, we'll see no drones in the extractor, so you can be pretty sure there's no Baneling play coming up or anything like that. A Spinecaller is coming down there for Revival and also at the natural, so he's clearly a bit concerned about any form of early Banelings. This Overlord scout is going to tell a lot that his hatchery is very, very late and could be putting on a lot of pressure, but surprisingly Bly isn't. He's literally just building drones. We take a look, actually it is Revival who has got more Zerglings, almost in preparation for a phantom attack, which could be occurring. I mean, don't get me wrong, Bly could be putting on a whole load of pressure here, but instead he's just droning up, which actually works out very, very nicely for him. Meanwhile, those spines are just getting moved very, very slightly, or one of them is into a more forward position. Injects from Revival are brilliant, from Bly as well, absolutely bang on, so nothing to worry about there. The second queen actually being produced there and then moved down, which is good timing. The drone counts for both these players are 24 to 20 in Bly's favour, and that's purely because the amount of Zerglings produced by Revival. Obviously Bly's Overlord will spot this, and we will see Revival pull back. The defensive Banelings are there, so he wouldn't have been able to do anything anyway. Just really looking around now for what's going to happen. Well, there is more drones in the gas, so we could see a Rotor come out soon, or a Baneling nest, and it looks like Revival's actually going to try and take that super fast third by picking off those rocks as soon as Zergly possible, because it's not humanly possible, it's a Zerg. First creep teamer down as well. Nothing too much going on at either of these players' bases. Some scouts are going off. Neither Baneling detonated. One spine at the front there. If you take a look at the work count, it's now in the favour of Revival, and that's purely because he had that extra hatchery down sooner. He's getting his own Baneling nest now, so this Ling Bling phase is going to go on for quite a bit longer than is necessary. Well, not that it's necessary, but neither player going for roaches, so that's going to mean that Ling Bling does stay for a while. Both players getting their lair at a very, very similar time there. The key thing is these rocks are about half killed already. Both players have speed, obviously. No Evo chamber for either, so no upgrades. It looks like both players are actually planning to go for some kind of muta build, which is good in some ways in this map because it's very, very big. Mutas are very mobile. There isn't much area to get in. There's a bit of dead space over here which you can poke in with and try and do some damage, but it looks like Bly's going to come forward with those Banelings and try and do a bit of damage. With the two spines and queen there, nothing will happen. Defensive Banelings there as well for Revival. And the gases are actually earlier for Revival as well, so he's going to have a lot more gas a lot quicker, as already is starting to be shown. And it'll be interesting to see how he spends that, because of course his lair is about to finish up. The Baneling's going just to check to see if the third base is down, and it's not, so no need to go there. 10 drones coming out there for Revival, which puts him at 54 now. Spire coming down for Revival there. You have no idea how off-putting it is having a Smurf account name, because you do just glance up there occasionally. But a Spire down as well for Bly, so this is going to be a double muta play. It is slightly more ahead for Revival, and Revival also very, very interesting, got his gas out sooner, but it's actually now behind in gas, so he's spent on quite a few Banelings to be defensive. That means that essentially there's going to be about 1 to 2 extra mutas out for Bly early on compared to Revival, but obviously Spires take a long time to build. If you do go for this sort of mass muta play, or very, very muta heavy early on, get more spines, because obviously your opponent could be going for roaches, and if that was occurring, then obviously you need those spines to be able to defend it, because Zerglings alone won't, and mutas are very, very bad in a head-on engagement. Looks like both players are going to start getting in a position to take their third base. Good timing, to be honest, on this, just before the 10-minute mark. So everything's very, very nice. It'll be interesting to see who actually manages to get down first. But it looks like it's going to be very, very, very equal. Actually, a third base going down here. So it's a double expand out of Revival, which is a very, very bold move. Will these Zerglings spot it though for Bly? No, they're being pulled back because they have seen this big Zergling push come in. Is there anything to really defend this? There's a couple of Banelings being morphed in. Only 2 there, and the Zerglings, if they do just run up, will get there beforehand. They're going for the third, which is right towards those Banelings, and instead they're going to come and pick up a queen, and I think that is exactly what Revival should be doing. Does manage to get one queen down, but the rest will get cleaned up very, very easily. Meanwhile, the double expand here for Revival is looking perfectly happy so far. A lot of mutas coming out for both players. If we take a look at the muta counts, well, it's 8 to 8 at the moment, so it's pretty much exactly the same, and some free overlords will be picked off here, which is always irritating. It's lava 100 minerals and also has the risk of supply blocking you. Now, what Bly does have to be careful with is he's only got a handful of mutas out, and they're in 2 big groups, whereas obviously Revivals are all clumped up together. These Zerglings are going to try and take out this earlier third base, and are they going to be able to get it? Yes, they will, and that is quite a big loss there for Revival, but here's one he prepared earlier just for that situation, and we should be able to get that up without too much problems, unless of course these mutas spot it, but the mutas won't be able to do enough damage quickly enough, and hopefully Revival should be able to get back there to clean it up, but doesn't want to send in 2 mutas alone, wants to come in with all of them. And if you take a look at the actual muta count, it's 11 to 12, so this is going to be very, very close. A better engagement there for Bly. Managed to get a muta down, which is always very, very nice. Meanwhile, we will see Revival just run in with those Zerglings, try and pick off Bly's third base. Won't be able to because some Banelings are coming, so we'll have to run away, or some big Baneling hits will go down just like that. And that is quite a lot of lost Zerglings straight away there. An Evo chamber coming down at the moment for Revival. No sign of an Evo anywhere for Bly as of yet. He is getting that +1 air carapace, which actually works really, really well against another mutating player, because ultimately the splash damage gets reduced massively, and your mutas will always come off better. Meanwhile, if we take a look at the actual muta counts, it's now 15 to 16 in Revival's favour, so this is insanely close. And it looks like +1 attack was cancelled in favour of +1 armour there for Revival as well, so that's interesting, but it's a long way behind that of Bly's. More spores coming up everywhere and anywhere for both players. Actually, no spores up for Bly. There's spines coming down, so spores coming up here for Revival, but there's a big amount of Zerglings coming in, but the Mutants will be able to clean those up quite easily. So that's fine. Meanwhile, a Muta attack coming into the natural base, and there is only that one Spore there, but the Spore and Queen, if Mutas do get there in time, could do quite a bit, but no Mutas do go down. If we take a look at the workers lost, it's 8-10, so this is an insanely close game. A Zergling counterattack coming down at the third base, going to try and pick off that spine, but instead going for a Queen. That is definitely the right decision to do. And seriously, I don't think you guys understand, or some of you may not understand how close this game is. While Revival does have the worker lead, in terms of army, he's pretty much a bit behind actually at the moment. So this is really, really, really close. And I mean, I have to say, Blight's doing a lot of pressure, and that's working out quite well. Revival's just poking around with these Mutas, is having a look. I mean, purely because he's got more drones, I'd say Revival is in the more advantageous position, but that could end really, really quickly, as all ZvZs could. And this is a big head-on engagement. The +1 carapace is done though for Bly, and that made a big, big difference to this engagement, like massively. And so you will see Revival being very, very quick to run away from that. And if we take a look at the Lost tab, well not the Lost tab, the Units tab, the actual Muta advantage is there for Revival at the moment. It will go when those 6 Mutas pop there for Bly. And here we go with another engagement. The +1 carapace still isn't done, though, yet for Revival. So he will come off a bit worse, but Bly doesn't quite have the numbers to deal with those reinforcing Mutas, so he does pull back. Some Zerglings come as well here for Revival. And this is just constant pressure. It's 2 insanely mobile armies, so lots of harassment, lots of pressure, but neither player really able to deal a killing blow as of yet. These Zerglings are going to come up here to check for a 4th base or anything, and will get cut off by these additional Zerglings. Now here we go with a bit of engagement in the middle. There are Queens though there as well to help Bly with this engagement. +1 armor done for both of these players, but the Queens will help and will force Revival back. And this is just to and from, but this is a massive Zergling counterattack coming in here. Just so many units, and they're just going to go straight for that main base, do any damage they can, just picking off literally anything that they are able to get their little teeth into, teeth and claws. That's a good point. The Zerglings attack with teeth or claws, I do not know. I'd imagine teeth. Isn't it something said on the tooltip? This is like just some random thing I want to know. No, claws. They attack with claws. So this is again a counter-attack here for Revival. This is just a constant pressure game going on everywhere. A big Muta battle going on here. And I have to say, it feels like it's going to come out in favour of Bly. Until, of course, those Queens come into the fray, and they will definitely help tip it in Revival's favour. A macro hatch is down for Bly, but a 4th base is now up for Revival, and I have to say TSLRevival is looking in a good spot. What's the work count? Like 78 to 51, so that is a big difference, like absolutely huge, and that means that the longer that stays that way, the more significant it will become, and the income for Revival just allow him to produce far, far more than Bly is able to. So really this needs to be cleared up pretty quickly. The worker kill count is actually really pretty close, but Bly just isn't replacing those workers, although having said that, he is now. An infestation pick coming up for Bly. I think that's a good choice. Will deal with the Mutants very, very well. Also allow him to get up to Hive Tech units if he does choose. And down for Revival, he's getting Burrow. I'll be interested to see what he does with Burrow, because currently he has Zerglings and Mutalisks. Mutalisks can't obviously burrow, and Zerglings, there isn't much benefit to it, apart from trying to get a surprise surround or anything like that. So it'll be interesting to see if he does choose to get out Infestors relatively soon, because I don't think he has his Infestation Pit yet. I may be mistaken, but I don't think I've seen it anywhere. Nope, no Infestation Pit anywhere at all. There's defensive Baning there coming in for Revival. We'll try to get picked off. Those Zerglings are going to try to kill a spine or 2, and now just do some damage to the mineral line, but we'll pull out before those Banelings get into, well, production and come and kill him. Meanwhile, Bly trying to take a 4th base, but has been spotted here, and that's pulled a lot of Zerglings away, but the Mutas are still there, so this Zergling attack should get cleaned up, running straight into a lot of Banelings, and those Zerglings are just going straight into the main base there for Revival, and Bly had a momentary brief, and if this Infestation Pit goes down, that would be absolutely huge, but there's enough Mutas there to be able to deal with it. Those Mutas are +2 armor, plus no attack. That is comparable to the 1-2, so +1 armor, +2 attack there for Revival, so that was actually pretty equal upgrades. Not too much to be said. A lot of Spore Crawlers coming down here at the 4th base there for Revival, and that's really a big thing, is having that 4th base, and also the 18 drone lead is pretty damn significant. Pathogen Dan's on the way out for Bly. The Infestation Pit is just finished, I think, for Revival. Do correct me if I'm wrong. Did he cancel it actually? No, but he has got it up, and the Hydra Den is about to finish. 6 Hydras coming out, so this can be a Hydra Ling Muta Infestor type army out of Revival. The Hydras will absolutely decimate the Mutas if a good fungal growth goes off and they can't get away, obviously. So that can be very significant. Now the Mutas for Bly are running in. This game is just intense. It's like pretty damn crazy. Spores are getting focused down because once the Mutas get to this high number, they just start doing sick damage. But the upgrades are pretty equal. +1 missile attack coming out here for Revival. Burrow on its way out there for Bly, so that's for the Infestors. He's mined out at his main, so well, nearly Revival is. He's nearly mined out as natural. The natural base of Bly looking a bit more healthy because he took it later, obviously. But obviously this 4th base is really key. That's why it is so well defended with spines and spores here for Revival. He's even transfusing those spines. Meanwhile, bit of a passive moment here actually. Both players just trying to gear up. They're both approaching max. Now Infestors are out here for Bly. There's a lot of Infestors. If we take an actual look, it is 7 Infestors to 3 of Revival. There is more in production though for Revival at the moment. Please remember to speak, God. So this is going to be kind of a real big engagement. It's going to come down to how good those fungals are because, well, Mutas get trashed by fungals. There's also some Hydras here for Revival, and that's going to be big. So here goes the engagement. Some big fungal growth goes off on the Mutalists, and now it's a big Muta battle. Big fungals for both sides here. But the Hydras have been cleaned up very quickly. But judging from the supply, this is coming out in favour of Revival, who's reinforcing with a lot of extra Mutalists. Not Mutalists, Hydralists, which will be difficult to deal with. The Mutas for Revival are pulling back, and really well, 17 Hydras about to pop. This space is so well defended. There's also that Infestor there, which does have the energy for fungal growth. Does manage to get a money fungal growth on those Hydras, which will now get shot down and completely decimated. A big amount of infested Terrans also come down though, and they can do a lot of damage while they're still alive. But so far that Spine managing to clear it out at the moment. Hydra's coming streaming in for Revival, and the supply lead is definitely there. Double expansion taking his 4th and 5th here for Bly. Wow, that was a big engagement, and I'm really interested to see if Revival is able to really pull through with this because, well, he's getting a lot of Hydras up, and there's no real way for Bly to deal with those Hydras at the moment. He's got quite a lot of Zerglings, but it depends what they're able to do. The Zergling counterattack coming down here. Is he going to come and is Revival going to come and check down in that left position to see what is there? Those Infested Terrans are getting taken out as soon as they pop, and those Infestors are looking very scared. They do have some energy for fungal growth, so that could be big, and there goes one good fungal growth. But fungal growth not too effective against Hydralists because obviously they're not armoured. But just managed to take out a nice group there. Some more fungal growth going down there for Revival, and it's actually pretty close. But the problem with a lot of Infestors is, well, they can lob a lot of infested Terrans, but ultimately they can't kill stuff that easily on their own, especially when they start getting low on energy, and infested Terrans are so slow you can just run away. Even Hydras can run away. So now this is a Zerg counterattack, and this could be really key here. It is going to take out the 5th base as well as a lot of drones. I don't see anything really in position to be able to cover this, so that is almost certainly going down. And by Bly's position, he wants to defend this 4th base. That's the one he wants to keep up. And the 5th base there for Bly is going to go down. Hive on the way out for Bly at the moment. Meanwhile, no sign of Hive at all yet for Revival. We'll see that Zergling run by though, and should be able to come and defend his own 5th base, but actually choosing not to and just pushing forward. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with this, because, well, he's going to lose that 5th base. It's going to try and be cancelled. He does manage to get cancelled off, which is essential, obviously. Some burrowed drones just staying around. Meanwhile, this Hydra Infestor army is very slow off creep. I must say, creep spread for both players isn't brilliant, but it's a ZvZ, so it gives an advantage to the opponent as well. +2 missile attack coming out, road speed coming out, Hive coming out as well for Revival, plus a second Evo chamber, so I want to start those double upgrades. Meanwhile, there's no upgrades as of yet, as far as I believe, for Bly. No sign of upgrades at all, so that ground upgrades are going to make a big difference, and this is quite a death ball here from Revival. He's got that full 200 army, he's got roaches to soak up the damage, he's got the Hydras to deal that damage, and he's also got the one Infestor to, oh no, there's the rest of the Infestors, to fungal growth. So it all comes down to how well this goes. Doesn't want to get those roaches clumped up too much, and it looks like Bly just delayed a little bit, and admittedly he's got so many Infestors, he can pump it all up, lobbing some Infested Terrans very quickly. So this is just such a huge army. If a fungal growth goes off on the Infestors, it would be massive. Does trap 4 there, and this is an all-round crazy engagement. Let's just watch this in full screen glory. And really, well, you can tell by the supply, Bly's just reinforcing with so many roaches. This is pretty much over now. He's doubled the supply, all but a few. And the infested numbers, while high still for Bly, he's got no units to really back that up. Good fungal growth goes off, and the infesteds are picked off one at a time. And I can't help but feel this is pretty much all over. Plus 3-1 upgrades coming out for Revival. And there's the GG from Bly. And that means he takes game 1. So go and check out game 2. I hope you do like it. Well, I've already seen it, it's brilliant, so go and check it out. If you did like the video, give it a thumbs up, obviously that'd be fantastic, and subscribe if you like the casts. Bye for now.